Good morning, you beautiful misfits. Welcome to another Misfit Monday Debrief. It's sitting in the driver's seat. It is I, the man Chazzler, broadcasting to you live once again from not my parents' basement. Don't bother. I know.
Shock and surprise.
Don't bother looking. You can go there. You can ask them. My mom is going to tell you Josh is not here, for he's busy.
But she makes really good cookies.
Yeah. My mom never really made cookies, actually.
Oh.
But
I bet you
They
could.
didn't have to say it. They didn't know that.
hey, listen. Because, we at Misfit Militia also embrace diversity. My mom was Filipino, so we got the best mangoes. Like,
There we go.
Americans don't know what good mangoes taste like.
No.
I learned that in college. We had at the house I lived at. Granted, it's all dudes, so maybe it's biased. But we had a fruit salad. They threw mangoes in there, and they're like, "Oh, these are good mangoes." I'm just sitting there, I'm like, no, they're not even fully ripe.
So you're saying that our mangoes should just mango in the trash?
A little bit of a stretch, and as Jonathan knows, in the spirit of partiality, or in the spirit of being biblically sound, and it says to show no partiality, I'm inclined to tell you what I tell Jonathan: shut up. I have to be fair. Sorry, my hands are tied.
You'd probably be fired too if that were.
Dang.
That one specifically.
I'm fired. I don't even work here.
I don't work here either. I'm employed here, but I don't work here. But sitting with me in the gunner seat, you have Big Bad John. You know him. You love him. He's the Italian coffee man. Roasts with the Italian hands. Gives you the beautiful coffee that we all enjoy and love. And sitting with us in the captain's seat, it is our smoke master, Eddie. Eddie, say hello.
Hi guys. I'm normally back there being the live studio audience, and so but today we've got things going on that we'll get into in a little bit. So I'm here in the captain's seat or the captain's seat today. So.
And I think everyone's going to share Princess Magpul's statement of great addition to the show. So thank you for coming and sitting with us. She also said the picture quality is immaculate, is what she said. So,
Thank that one goes to a big thanks to Chris.
Yes.
Chris Spies.
Yes.
Just a all around wonderful guy. He and his wife, they're a wonderful couple. You guys really need to get to know them, and especially those of you who have a significant other. If there's anything, with that, if you need mentors or people who can teach you what a godly marriage looks like, what a man should be doing and what a wife should be doing, go talk to them. They're just absolutely wonderful people. As are the rest of you. We always say it, but I don't think we can say it enough. We want to thank y'all for all the support you give, even if it's verbal support, even if it's just saying, hey man, we really love their coffee. Misfit Militia has the greatest coffee.
Because they do.
Like that. It means a lot to us because we're not owed anything. And especially in these economic times where money is, it seems like we're overreacting to say that $2 for a cup of coffee is a lot, but the more that I'm getting to talk to everyone, the more I'm realizing $2 for a cup of coffee actually is a lot right now.
it is. And just understanding, just to make sure it's understood fully, we don't give Chris and Karen the praise and accolades we do because of things like this. There is about a year now of back history in terms of friendship and conversations that we've had, things we've been able to sit and observe with them. Same with Eddie. Same with all of y'all who have been coming in and out and getting to spend time. Like we don't just say these things because we get you $2 or because you come in and buy and talk about our coffee. It's because we see the people that you are. We see God acting in your lives. And whether it's us being blessed just by knowing you, or things you say that end up taking heart and taking root in our hearts that we end up walking away with. It's sermon I was listening to this morning, just harping again on knowing by the fruit of the people. We see the fruit of y'all, and that's why we talk about y'all the way we do.
Well, that's the thing. Even if you're not a Christian, if you come in and you show that you actually care about people, you care about being a good person. Obviously, we're not going to fully agree on what a good person is, but the one thing is, if you I guess embrace the greatest second commandment, which is love your neighbor as yourself, because realistically that's how we interact with one another, and we not go to war with one another in this world, is that we love our neighbor as ourselves. We're not looking to take advantage of. We're not looking to steal from. We're not looking to fight or quarrel or anything with that. If that's something that you live by, we would brag about you too. That you're just a nice guy, a great guy who cares about people, who wants to take care of people. But with that being said, I'm going to throw this out there. I haven't talked to Jonathan about this, but I'm sure he's not going to care. Friday, free cup of coffee to anyone who can go figure out the first live that Big Eddie actually debuted on.
Ooh, I like it.
So leave in the comment section. First one to comment gets a. If you get the right Monday debrief where Big Eddie actually debuted, you get a free cup of coffee on Friday.
I like it. See, that's kind of impromptu stuff that we go for around
Right?
here.
Mm-hmm.
That's an unscripted stuff that we promised,
I was to say, well, that's the thing. People may not know, especially if you started following us recently. Big Eddie actually came into the picture a while ago. He didn't want to come on, so this is actually a big step for him because he really didn't want to come on the camera then, but now he is. And hey, I know I'm happy to have you.
Oh yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. But y'all are gonna have to wait patiently before we get to any all that fun. We gotta go through announcements. Yes, I know.
My cup of coffee's not gonna make it through the announcements.
Mine's going pretty quickly.
I wonder where you get some more.
I have no idea.
I don't see any
Man,
here.
I'm usually ready for this with the advert and talk about. Come in at Misfit Militia Coffee, best coffee in Tennessee. You are going to love it. It is full flavor, full of sweat, full flavor, full of goodness. Each one roasted and tasted by Big Bad John himself. Guaranteed fresh, guaranteed delicious, guaranteed better than our competitors, Cosmic Dollars or Dark Musket Coffee Corporation. So,
disclaimer: we are not selling laptops. Please do not come in here looking to purchase a laptop. But if you do, you need to book a value.
and if
Something,
you do,
something, ExpressVPN.
yes. See, this is why I need a gunner seat. As far as the announcements, we now have 2 bags. They're in and ready to go. I know you said we'll rearrange it. We're probably not going to. I'm just going to read it as I wrote it down.
That's fine.
2 bags in. For those of you...
2-pound bags.
2-pound bags. For those of you who are connoisseurs of excellent coffee and you just don't want to pay for another bag, like the actual physical bag. You just want to pay for the coffee beans because we will be running it a little bit cheaper than if you were to buy 2.
Correct.
We're going to be running those. So if you are a coffee lover who needs more than 1 pound, come and see us.
And we're going to let y'all know. So this is in response to people asking for us to have 2-pound bags. We've had quite a couple of y'all ask for 5-pound bags. And so this is where we do the whole of buying for the people thing. If y'all are coming in asking for them more, then we'll make the leap. So we've got the 2-pound. We got 2-pound bags in. We're gonna run with those. If y'all end up running us out of 2-pound bags, then we will absolutely grab 5-pound bags.
We'll have to experiment with the 5-pound bag and the shipping boxes because if that's the thing, we may unlock some really big savings on shipping and all that.
And Strat says 2 pounds. That's a lot of gains. Which yes,
that's not enough gains. You need more gains than that. Frickin'
Power gain.
Exactly. You need to be able to lift over 400 babies.
Run as fast as Kenyans.
Speaking of Kenyans, which is not entirely Kenyan, Ethiopian. We're going to be doing that as a roast to order.
It's just their neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. It's why it's, close enough. We're going to do it roast to order. Y'all have spoken and you really don't like the light roast all that much, which I can't blame you. I mean, Peruvian has always been my favorite, and it still is my favorite, and Peruvian espresso is even more my favorite. It's just I consider those 2 different categories, and so coffee, Peruvian's my favorite, espresso, Peruvian's my favorite, and I'm from Peru, so there's no bias there. It's just wonderful, delicious, fantastic coffee. But that being said, I'm drinking El Salvadorian, and this is better than I remember.
Yeah, it's fire. And the whole roast to order thing, just to clarify, this isn't saying it's gone. It's not saying that it's harder to get. We'll just be requesting that y'all give us, if you're looking to buy our 22LR, you got to at least give a day's notice of, hey, I'd like to come in and pick this up. We'll schedule it for pickup. We'll get it roasted. As Matt Chazzler said, it's just not it's moving. I mean, there are a couple of y'all who are stuck on it, but this is how we make sure that you keep the freshness in line. We're not going to keep throwing it on the shelves. If it doesn't sell to as many people, we'll keep it so that everybody's getting their freshest bag of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely not bad coffee. This is not because it's bad coffee. It's just that it's the least of the good coffee. Of the best coffee?
The least favorite of
the
the
least
good
of the favorites.
Yeah.
It's still really good coffee.
I agree. I still drink the Ethiopian, although it makes fire espresso, and honestly, we talked about it probably. I don't know. I'm not even gonna go that. I was thinking espresso roast, and then just
which we're trialing some things with an espresso roast because we know some of y'all like to take espresso and brew it, as a normal coffee style. Which we're trialing it.
Oh wait, that was one thing we talked about. We're gonna encourage people to try if we just ground it for ground espresso beans for regular, and just try a cup for $1.
Yep.
Just so
can't hurt. It's $1.
Yeah, and you can see if you actually like it better that way. Because if you do, then we'll roast it that way because it's still actually really fire.
But Ethiopian espresso has been something I don't think any of us truly saw coming. Just how deep. I will say, Matt Chazzler had that idea long before I had thought that it was going to pick off like it did. But it is just mwah. It's wonderful.
Yes, it is. Come and get some. Come try some. But there's several ways to reach out to us. You can go leave us a message through Facebook. You can leave us a message through the website. You can contact us via phone number. You can contact Big Bad John. You can find Big Bad John.
Running out of fingers.
Yes. Well, I guess that's all I have anyway. Thursday and Friday, especially at the vape shop or anytime here, pretty much from the hours of 7 to 7, you can find Big Bad John here, except on Wednesday because church.
Yes.
So
because God comes first.
Yeah, and in fact, the reason you shouldn't be able to find him there is because you're also at church.
Lots of discussion going on about not having brain cells from being tired and it being Monday between Princess Magpul and Strat. But apparently, which yes, I guess we did know, we also take messenger pigeons.
Yes, we do.
So there's the sixth one.
Although, make sure you put some kind of identifier in it because it may get shot.
Fair.
Pigeon is tasty.
Exactly. Moving right along with my not formerly nicotine-stained fingers, homage to the late and great El Rushbo. March 15th, we are doing Legislative Coffee. That is a Friday. You will be able to find Big Bad John, and I'll actually be able to be there this time.
You can.
Man, I can yell it, because that's for like... that's for like business, or is that for like politicians?
It's all for politicians. So So just in case y'all don't remember or you haven't been yet, our legislative coffee events here in Dyersburg, they have some political officials somewhere in the state. They come in, they meet up at our chamber at the Lanham Center, and that'll be at 7 a.m. That's Friday, March 15th. We'll be serving coffee, so you've got something to wake you up. An incentive to be there. These cups are just free. This is we sit here and tell you to be active in your community and to be voicing your political thoughts and the things that God impresses on your heart, and we stand behind that by giving you free coffee.
In other news, on March 16th, Joshua Budnick will probably be banned from the Lanham Center for disruption of the legislative coffee, as he was busy yelling at politicians for all the stupid stuff that we have to deal with.
But never banned from your mother's the Misfit Militia bunker.
Which is, again, not in my mother's basement. Don't go looking there.
Sorry.
I don't know how many times we're going to have to tell you, but...
I'm guessing it's going to be 6.
Shut up. Moving right along, as all of you have known, the Range has been a big one we've talked about, being one of our business partners. And that partnership may or may not see something in the near future. So I'm going to leave you with. But be looking out for it, because it more than likely will be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
English is not my first language. Mumbling is. So nice. It's hard for me. But be looking out for that. It's going to be a blast. Not going to tell you any details other than it's in Jackson at the Range. Which is, listen, name me a place that has more guns and less shootings. Oh, wait.
Cricket. Was it Paradise Valley from Trimmers at Bert's house?
Oh. Yep.
Oh, but that's fictional. We're talking about real places. I'm sorry. I can't think of one.
Fictional story,
just,
real mentality.
Just the name and location is wrong, but there are several houses that are like that. I don't know of any. Don't look in my mom's basement. And then finally, all this week, as you know at Locks, otherwise renowned after the incident as Macy's Grill, is going to be trialing our coffee. Mm-hmm. So if you go there normally... Yeah. Target. Sorry, that's all I think of when I hear that sound now. Locks and Macy's Grill is going to be serving Locks/Macy's Grill is going to be serving our coffee on trial. Go over there, give it a try if you want. They have 3 different calibers from us. They got our 9mm, our 45, and our 50. Mm-hmm. So you can ask for whichever one you want, and let them know what you think of it. Because if it's good enough, then that may be another business partner and another place for you to get our coffee while you get delicious food. I walked in there; it smelled fantastic.
And this is one where we're gonna, again, we rely on you, the people. So if that's a place you frequent, even if it's not, we know you've heard of it before. It's been around since a lot of us were kids. Go on, stop in, or what?
Or longer.
Or longer, yeah. So go stop in, especially if you do frequent drinking our coffee. Go stop in, give it a try, give them your honest feedback, because they're looking to understand how the customers are telling the difference between what they were brewing versus what they are. And I'll throw another impromptu in there. You go there and eat. Bring your receipt in. We'll give you another cup of coffee.
I like it.
Just so we know that y'all were able to go, and then you're getting something for it.
In fact, whatever coffee you buy there, if you show us the receipt, we'll give you as many cups over here. So if you had 3 people that really liked it and you want to come here and get it, we'll give you 3 free cups.
Such a deal.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where it is, find the Nissan dealership, head north, and you'll be right on your left. Mm-hmm. So really easy to find. No excuse not to find it. And like I said, going in there, it smelled wonderful.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to trying it. Mm-hmm.
I almost sat. I think we almost sat down right there. We all walked in. It smelled so good. If I hadn't been so tired and wanted to get back into PJs, I probably would have.
If I actually had money in my account, I would have as well. I would have forced you. I don't care. I said, I don't care. I'm hungry, and this is delicious. But
all of the prices at Locks are very reasonable for the amount of food that you do get. So
trademark of a true mom and pop place.
Yep.
It really is.
Very much so.
And I think the biggest thing that we cannot be understated is it's a local business. Mm-hmm. You know, Applebee's, Chili's, all that. Why are you going to support them? You know, especially the one thing that I always hear is with these, well, the thing that I've heard working in the factory now for a while is just the amount of work and the amount of underpay. Like you don't get that with the small business. With the small business, you actually know who the owners are. You can actually voice your grievances, and they're not tied with all this corporate red tape of having to appease everywhere. Mm-hmm. They actually have the way they run it is to their location.
Yeah.
So, you know, if instead of going to the big chains, go to there, go to small, because I know I intend to.
We'll be there very, very soon.
Mm-hmm. As far as that's what we got as far as the main Misfit announcements in terms of exclusive to us. But we have Big Eddie here to let you in on a new Misfit/Snores grill.
So, as y'all have heard many times, graciously, they have plugged my barbecue business. I am in collaboration with them to start selling smoked cream cheese, which I have brought up here probably for the past 2 months on the Fridays, just to give a taste of, hey, look, I've done this combination of flavor with the cream cheese. It's something easy. It's something sweet, spicy, depending on what flavors you get. We're going to start off with 7 homemade flavors that I have come up with. They're all. I'm a huge nerd, and because Snore is actually short for Snorlax. But Nintendo being Nintendo, they don't like to use you can't use their property without their consent, and I don't make that much money to pay for consent. So. Snores it is. So, we'll start out with the OG, which is what I use on my barbecue, on my pulled pork, as a Snore Sweet Heat. It's a combination of brown sugar, red pepper flakes, garlic, and other goodness that I'm not allowed to disclose. The second one is my wife's favorite, and Mrs. Snore, and it's black gold, which is our jalapeno garlic, and it legitimately is black. It is made by Loot and Booty Barbecue. It's called their name is called.
I'm gonna need some black gold.
Right. Theirs is a. It's called Jolly Roger. Actually, you can buy it at Lowe's up here if you wanted to try that before you tried it here. It's relatively cheap, but it's super flavorful, and we love it.
The 2 cents that I have that no one asked for, try it here rather than trying it at Lowe's.
Right. Yes. Please try the local before you try anywhere else. The next one is the Shire. It's my son's favorite. It's Tuscan and herb. It's got citrus notes. It's got the Italian herbs, so it reminds you of the countryside. It reminds you of a day in the life of a hobbit, because you're gonna want it just for second breakfast, 11sies, all the meal times.
You'll be heading off to Isengard.
I'm liking these names.
Right. The next one is Princess's favorite. We're calling it the Sunny because of her sunny disposition, and also because of my favorite anime. It's called One Piece, and the boat they ride on is called the Sunny, and it's lemon pepper flavor, and it is quite phenomenal. I know a bunch of people do lemon pepper wings. That's where I got the inspiration from. I was like, why not throw it on some cream cheese? It's super tasty.
The logic checks.
This morning I decided to make a new flavor in my head, and I haven't tried it, but because I know heat and I know sweet, as you can obviously tell, we have the Dragon's Delight.
By his demeanor.
Yeah. We have the Dragon's Delight, which is red pepper flakes, garlic, black pepper, and cayenne. So, you're going to get hit with that dragon's breath, but you're going to finish with that sweet, sweet cream cheese.
You hit all the things that appeal to me. Red pepper, cayenne, and dragons.
Right. The next one we have on our list is, for all of you super nerds out there, it's our Devilish and Delightful, or the D&D. It's John's over here's favorite. It is our Honey Chipotle, which is just, it's magical. I mean, you eat it, and you're gonna roll nat 20s all day.
All day.
And for my only dessert, I know it's cream cheese, but most of these are savory. This is actually my only for now dessert specific smoked cream cheese, and it's our chocolate cream cheese. So that good. Is, if you're a Harry Potter fan. It is anything from the Charlie's Deer, and as the and she's a very nice lady, but she's also a demon on the Hogwarts Express that pushes around the snack trolley. But I wanted to call it chocolate frogs, but my wife was like, no one's going to buy frogs. So
chocolate amphibians.
Yeah, anything from the Trolley Deer, and that is our chocolate. Along with cream cheese, I also do brisket. I smoke chicken. I smoke barbecue. I do ribs. I've done duck. I've done deer. I do turkeys for Thanksgiving. Anything that you can put on the smoker, I can smoke. And if you bring me something that I haven't put on the smoker, I will figure it out. You can go to my Facebook. I've got a business page for Snore Smokehouse. You can contact me directly through Facebook, or you can contact these guys up here, because I'm up here at least once, twice a week. If you want a special, something for, and I also do, I do small caterings as well. It's still just me and my wife. We do have our own jobs because, we can't make this a job yet. But Misfits has very graciously offered me a spot in their shop to host some of my wares. Next Friday, which is the 1st, will be, I will have all 7 of my flavors here, as you can come and taste test. I will have some, we're going to start with 3 flavors first. We're going to start with the OG with the S'nores Sweet Heat. We're gonna do the Sunny and the Devilish and the Delightful, the D&D, will be our first three that I'll keep in the shop, and that will be run through the month of March. And then in April, we'll change 3 flavors, and we'll just run those. And every Friday, I will bring a fresh batch up here for Coffee Friday because, $2 for a cup of coffee. I mean, and it's the best coffee ever, right? Best coffee I've had, and I drink a lot.
This is not a paid advertisement.
No, it's not a paid advertisement, and I've been saying this for a long time before they even offered me a spot to sell some of my wares. If you get here on Friday, especially early enough, right about 7 o'clock, you might get fed breakfast because I am the head of our research and development platoon, and I do on a weekly basis bring in something that I have smoked. Because we are in a collaboration of making a coffee rub that specifically goes on beef. So I bring in brisket, or I bring in roast, or hamburgers, or something like that. So it's not traditionally breakfast foods, but you get your protein for the morning to start your day all right.
Which, full disclosure, I'm pretty sure even at room temperature, his brisket is easier to cut than his cream cheese. It's so smooth.
Yes.
It is.
And just so everybody understands, we've been sampling.
Since probably late after Thanksgiving, early December.
Yeah, it was about the time I started coming in. We were already.
About every Friday I bring out. I don't. That's all me. I'm not using anybody's money. I just want to bring in and I want specifically. I've always said this. When I started, my dad died when I was 12. The last thing he taught me to do was he taught me how to grill. My mom, who is a phenomenal cook, taught me more stuff how to do. And then I just figured out from then. 2011, I was working with someone who he's built his own smoker. He's got a cure shed out in his backyard, and he brought in some turkey one day. And it was the best turkey I've ever had. And I said, I would love to learn how to smoke. And next weekend, he told me to show up at his house at 5 a.m. And ever since then, I've got 2 or 3 grills at the house. I've got 2 or 3 smokers. I'm currently working as the night manager at Bad Bob's, as part of the pit team. And so I live, breathe, and die by the smoke. So I will graciously do anything that if you want, special prices. Prices are negotiable. Prices are very reasonable. I've always said that I want to make good food for good folks, and for a reasonable price, because you do have companies out here that are charging arm and a leg for microwaved food.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And which is not okay with me. And you can definitely taste it in the product. Just like the cosmic, beer, and the musket.
Dark Musket Coffee Corporation
that absorbs color, companies, just like them. I'm local. I think I'm fairly good.
He is good.
They graciously say that I've had a lot of people push for this, and it's finally happening, just slowly. So come by, pick up some cream cheese. It's great for work parties and all like that. We'll be selling them for $10 for a block of cream cheese, but it also comes with a sleeve of crackers, so it is ready to eat.
Which is important.
Which is important because usually when I bring it in, it's gone within about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Except for the little portion that we make sure that Princess gets, because we want to make sure the boss
That's true.
has her cream cheese. So.
And now understand. So when we started this, we approached the family who runs West Tennessee Vapors and had asked them, hey, we were fairly close with them at the point, and we said, okay, well, we're close.
And I'm an OG customer back when they were in the little bitty small shed.
Right, because
of West Tennessee Vapors.
Communities grow together.
Yes.
And we'd gone and asked them, hey, we've got this idea for a business. What do you think? And not only did they spend hours coaching us, giving feedback, lists of do's and don'ts, giving us homework to go research, they opened to the front of their store for a month and a half straight, Monday through Friday. And they said, here's a table. You can set up, not tucked in the back, not shoved off to the side, right at the front door. They said, you can sit here, don't need to give us a dime, figure out if this is going to work, and y'all can go from there. And I think I speak for all of us here at Misfit Militia Coffee when I say we've been waiting for God to give us a moment to be able to even try to be half the blessing that was to us. And we've gotten to know Eddie, just to where he's one of our closest friends. We've gotten to try his food. We've gotten to live his life with him live our lives with us. I don't know that it made so much sense to just jump into it, just to make sure it's understood. We're not taking anything from this either. This is, God has blessed us with the business.
Humbly and graciously, they have let me come in here and start my shop, start a storefront, and they're not charging me anything for it except for the cream cheese they're gonna send Angeline, but which is totally fine with me. Happy wife, happy life, happy boss, happy area. I can't. It doesn't rhyme, but whatever.
Listen, for as much people say that men are this, you talk to any man, and his whole thing is, his main focus is the woman that is his, and making sure she's happy.
Right.
Which boss lady says she doesn't know why you'd need crackers and you can just eat it with a spoon.
I mean, this is very true.
Y'all need to listen to her. And if you need help with recipes or things that you can throw it with, talk to Princess Magpul. Mm-hmm. She will give you the best suggestions to eat the cream cheese. One of which being, as she said, with a spoon.
With a spoon, because it is that good.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the recipes and stuff like that, if you have questions, if you're looking forward to, learning how to smoke, or, just have questions on barbecue in general, I am more than happy to talk hours upon hours, just like John does with his coffee. I can sit here and talk about barbecue all day. I love it that much.
He's like the smoke LEA.
Yeah.
That's it. The smoke LEA.
So, that is all I can think of for now. It's going to, come out next Friday. Get you one of the best cup of coffees I've personally ever had. I mean, I went straight from drinking, basically a caffeinated milkshake to drinking almost black. I mean, I put a little creamer in there because I do like French vanilla creamer in my coffee.
Some people do.
As a diabetic, that it's cut down on my sugar dramatically because just how flavorful and how good the coffee is here. But come out and get you some of the cream cheese. I will be here up until about 1:30 because I am the night manager and I do have to go to work. But they'll be here until it runs out. I'll have some for sale. I won't have all the flavors. Like I said, we're doing the first 3, so I'll have backups of those, and I'm more than willing to, if we run out. You might have to give me a little bit, but the next day I'll make sure that I'll have some smoked up and ready to bring back in. If not, just check us out come here on Fridays, and we'll have it rock and rolling.
Sell them out.
Yep.
Well, I say, and I know he said he has the 3 flavors, but I have a feeling, Big Eddie, you can address this if you want to. I have a feeling if you blew up his Facebook wall with the flavor that you specifically wanted,
that's very true.
Like the Dragon's Breath, that would be a wonderful one to have in stock here right off the bat.
Yep.
Not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out for a second, and I heard I couldn't remember if I heard it, but
I will bring you one of those. You'll be my first taste test because, like I said, I made that up this morning on the fly.
Oh, that's right. That's why you did it.
So it technically has not been tested yet, but because I know my flavors and I know I'm confident enough to put that out there without having tested it, and my testing includes my family, who I'm the one that loves the hot stuff, so it would just be me, and I know what mine tastes like, so getting other people's opinions is always good. Any feedback is good feedback, whether it be negative or positive, so I can make changes or just be like, well, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. but most of the time they do because because it's y'all's opinion, you know.
One of the biggest things we've learned, real quick, on the note of opinions, is that really doesn't matter if experts give you a great opinion if the people that you are targeting, which we're talking about true American God-fearing people, are typically blue collar, and if they don't like it, it really doesn't matter how good of a job we do,
Right.
because it may not suit their fancy.
That's very true.
Case in point, 22LR.
Very, very
Wonderfully roasted. People just don't have much of a palate for the light stuff.
Also, I'm going to plug this in just because of I'm highly ADD and sometimes coffee has adverse effect. When I need to go to sleep, I always make sure I grab a strong one of their coffees, and it helps me go to sleep. But to keep me awake, I'm probably the only one that drinks the Mexican decaf, which is phenomenal. It has a hint of cinnamon in it, and I'll eventually get it, there, shortly. But there is decaf, and you can buy them in the bags. If you want a 2-pound bag, you can do the 2-pound bag. If you, eventually, you get it in the variety packs.
There we go.
If you need that decaf, it's also goes really, really well with cream cheese, especially at night before you go to bed. Pour yourself a good cup of coffee, get you some cream cheese, and have a good evening.
Listen, if I had Smoke Master Eddie as a chef, you'd be calling me Big Joshy. That's just how it is. Ain't no two ways about it. His food it really is that good, and it's not just a matter of, we're very much like some of the people who talk to us with, the truth is the truth. We're gonna say it as it is. It doesn't help him if we say, oh yeah, this is good.
Yep.
Right.
You read my mind. It's we wouldn't have even pushed to offer this if it weren't something that we see the same thing that we saw in the passion behind the business we started.
Right. And this all really started because we sat around here one day and we were like, have you ever had a coffee rub? And I was like, I have one at my house, but I really haven't tasted it. I make the majority of my rubs. It's fun. And he said, well, what do you think about, making a coffee one? And so right now I think we're on the fourth. We'll be going to. We're on the fourth iteration of that to get we've boiled down to what spices I want in there. Now it's getting the ratios right, because at one time I made it, I think the third iteration, it was too much coffee, and
Jonathan disagrees.
But then
naturally,
the second iteration, you couldn't taste the coffee at all. I made it too balanced, and so it's getting the ratios together. But we will be putting that out there. I will be using it on, especially the beef that I bring up here. Once we've settled down it is, and we will be selling it at some point in time up here. So come get your coffee rubs when they are ready. When we finally decide that yes, this is the best product that we can come up with, because I'm not going to settle for anything less.
Yeah, we wouldn't expect you to either.
No.
But if you had any doubts about it, it definitely is an art form. The whole thing of bringing out flavor, it's an art form. You got to get it right. You got to get, because he even talked about the amount of sugar versus the amount of spices and stuff like this. And there are some spices that you put in just a little bit more than, and it's not even much in there to begin with, but you just put in a little bit more and it overpowers everything.
As we discovered with the very first rub that I made, while I did have more coffee in there than anything else, you could smell it, you could taste it if you just tasted the dry rub. But once we cooked it, the coffee was gone.
It was gone.
There was no smell. There was no taste. You could see the grounds, on the bark. You could tell that it was there, but because the juices, brewed the coffee basically out, there was no coffee flavor left to be enjoyed. And that, if we're offering a coffee rub, then we need to taste the coffee.
That's how we are with our flavor. If it says that there's flavor in the beans, we're not going to put it out if it just tastes like coffee.
Right.
If it does, it's a Biden roast.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, there you have it. That is, come out and support that, definitely. We're not going to lie to you and tell you that it's good when it's not. It's good. Come out and get it. Comes ready to eat, which is wonderful.
Right.
I mean, if nothing else, this is like a good Friday celebration. Go out, you're done with work, get some cream cheese, get some coffee, go home. If it's watch TV, or if it's play board games, or if it's play video games, or whatever it is, it's going to go great with cream cheese and fry.
Princess Magpul's painted the perfect picture for us. It's Snore Smokehouse cream cheese with a bagel. I prefer it toasted. With a bagel, cup of Misfit Militia coffee. And then
You talking about the breakfast of champions? That's like the breakfast of, like, I almost feel, I don't know if that's right to use it, demigods.
Nah.
Or above champions. Don't really like using that because they don't exist.
Mythical, you know.
Yes. But, well, that, as far as that goes, that covers...
The most business we have covered on a live in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been very quiet.
46 minutes of business.
Oh, crap. Wow. There you go. Well, with that...
shows how good business is doing. The more business we have to talk about, the more business, the better the business is.
Yeah. Yep. So hopefully it just keeps on going, and hopefully soon it'll be Big Eddie coming on here announcing his store hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we look forward to that day. With all that being said, we get to my favorite part of it, which is the Misfit discussion of the week, which we don't have.
The animation.
I say we
Discussion of the week.
because we have the new
Nailed it.
the new computer, and I overslept this morning, and we'll have to have a written
That's all
thing
right.
of
That's why he came and got some coffee.
yes. Which
Good place
I'm
to go.
almost out, so I'm gonna have to make this. We're gonna have to make this quick. Oh, you poor soul.
Yeah, I'm out.
But in light of recent events, the one topic I felt wanting to address is especially just feminism and the church, and do the two go hand? Is there a place for feminism in the church and stuff like that? Just because it's one of those things. We grow up with a set of values being pushed by two directions. One, for those of us who are in church, you have the church telling us this is how things should be, and then you have the society telling us the way things should be. And the problem is, if the church doesn't address something directly, we tend to think that since society's pushing it, that this is the level of acceptability. And I wanted to talk about this, especially as it relates, probably first and foremost, and most importantly, as it relates to pastoralship. That's something that's slowly becoming more and more accepted with a lot of churches. And so I think to start it off, I mean, the big thing is, as far as equal rights under the law, is that a bad thing? No, you're not going to find anyone at Misfit Militia Coffee that thinks that equality under the law is a bad thing, that we should go back to women being objects and stuff. That all the talking points that Democrats throw and say that Republicans want to return us to, which some Republicans maybe, but I don't consider myself a Republican.
No.
But the thing about it is, then, what about equality within even just how we view equality through looking through the Word of God? And there's two things there. There's two kinds of equality there. One is equality in value, which, yes, we're both image bearers of God. Man and women, God created them. We both bear His image. So just by that alone, we both have the same value, and we're both extremely valuable. And as far as in terms of roles and things that they take care of, no. If you go back to Genesis and you look at it, it's very clear. God said, "It is not fit that man should be alone. Therefore, let us make for him a helper."
And
Go ahead.
I don't want to derail you.
The thing about it is, so God didn't make Eve to be another man. He didn't make her to do all the things that a man could do. That's why we as men and women are so vastly different. That's why when you look at everything, you look at all the sports, look at everything, even look at the jobs that they gravitate to. Denmark, or I think it's Denmark or Sweden, one of these highly socialist countries that's huge on equality and having equal representation among the sexes. What do they find? Men are predominantly engineers, women are predominantly nurses. Because God made for man a helper.
And this goes, just we hope everyone understands this. This goes back and forth. This isn't a thing where we put a rod down that says women are called to follow this biblically, and then just don't focus on the man. Because if you wanna really talk biblically, the man has an incredibly deep charge. It's for all the things that are listed for people to be. Men are supposed to be Christ to their wives. Not just be caring, not just be protective. They're supposed to be Christ. And the reason why these roles go the way they do, as the Bible is so clear, outlining in the positive things that happen for people and the ways that they go wrong, is because we as God's creation, we function the best, we feel the most fulfilled, we excel the best when we are in these roles that God has outlined. This is not, we feel like these are better roles for people. I can tell you when, a couple of years back, I would have been perfectly fine being a stay-at-home dad. And just, my wife can go work and I'll stay home. And it took me a while before I kind of finally got a harsh reality check of, that's no. Because I don't care how great of a father I am, I'm not a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't be a mom. And that's not a knock to myself. I'm not a mom.
No, it's not a knock to you. It's an acknowledgement of the truth, and that is that God has designed us to be different. And Eddie, you're a manager at Big Bob's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what would
Bad Bob's.
Bad Bob's.
Sorry, I was thinking of Bob's Burgers.
But what would happen if they had another manager there with you, the same shift, and you all had to come down and make a decision, and neither of you could agree? I mean,
how would you make a decision?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I would probably go with okay, which one of us has more experience? Or I would go and talk to my boss, who is male, but our it's so weird at my work. So Bob's the owner, and then we have our GM, who is Laura Beth, who's a wonderful lady, and then Jesse, who is my direct supervisor, and he's been working there for 8 years. If I had another manager, and sometimes I do, but we have the upfront. And okay, wait. So let me go.
So,
let me go back. No, because this works really well with what where I work at. As far as like the heavy lifting and the brunt of like the cooking the food and stuff like that, most people in the kitchen are male, and then the waitresses up front, we don't have any male staff that are waitresses, and that's not saying that we would hire someone who is male, a man to go up front and handle that, because I've gone up front and taken orders before when we've been busy, but we just the women handle the women handle up front, the waitressing, getting stuff out there, and then we handle the workload, getting because we get butts in, and the box of butts is 80 pounds. I mean, and I'm not saying that women can't pick up 80 pounds, because some children are weigh 80 pounds or more. I know my son, who's 12 years old, if he falls down and busts his kneecap open and can't walk, I know for a fact my wife will pick him up. I'm not saying that women cannot, lift 80 pounds, but it's easier for someone who is 6'4", 500 pounds, to lift an 80-pound object versus someone who is 100 pounds soaking wet and 5'3". That's just physical difference.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the thing about it is, if you had another kitchen manager who had all the same responsibilities as you and all the same things as you, and you two completely disagreed, how are you going to get anything done? Would you be able to get anything done?
Probably not, without having someone else there to a leader or a guide, and that would be one of those things that we would. Then I would, call my boss, or if I couldn't get him to call Laura Beth, and if I couldn't get her, I would ultimately end up calling Bob.
But you're pulling in an authority, someone who resides, and someone who is the lead, who is guaranteed to be the one who is going to make the decision. And it's the same thing between men and women. You have male headship established from the get-go, because who was the first one God made? God made Adam. Adam was the one who was able to witness all that God did. He watched God create every animal, and he brought it to him. He's like, "What do you call this? What do you call it?" And then at the end of it, the Vodi Bakum touched on it. It's funny because everything that God made was good, and then he gets to this is the first part it gets to where he says, "It is not good, and it is not good that man should be alone. Let us make therefore for him a helper." So first off, by definition, a helper isn't the one who makes the decisions. A helper is not the one. They can help you make decisions, but they're not. And as Jonathan said, it's a huge charge with us. James 3 talks about it. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. It's a serious charge to be over the wife and the kids and to be the teacher of them, because contrary to what the Baptist church and really churches nowadays push, it's not the church's job to raise people up in Christianity. It is the fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers need to be well versed in the Word, and so they're able to immerse. The Bible even says that you need to be able to immerse your wife in the Word,
Washing of your wife with the Word,
so that you can present her as holy and acceptable before God. That's a serious charge that we have to adhere to. That means we have to be biblical experts in and of it on our own. And men, start now. If you're not a biblical expert, start now. Go on YouTube, start watching sermons. Again, we plug them all the time. R.C. Sproul, John MacArthur, Vodi Bakum, Paul Wash is another good one. And just start learning as much as you can about the Word, about the roles. They even do. Tony Evans also does great sermon series on our obligation, our roles as men, but also the roles of the wife and that. And so the big thing, and kind of bring it back, because we said we wanted to get to a specific topic, is women as far as pastoralship. And I'm gonna put this in Southern terms, because Southerners understand this. If you walk into someone's house, Big Eddie, if you were to walk into someone's house, are you going to play by your rules, or are you going to play by theirs?
I'll play by theirs.
Because it's their house and you respect it. The church is God's house.
Yep.
God sets the rules for who He has in what position, and He has spoken through Paul, and He has said, "It is not." He said, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man." He also gives the qualifications for overseer, and he says an overseer or a pastor must be the husband of one wife. Greek translated a one-woman man. Now you show me a woman who is a one-woman man, and I'll show you someone who's not a woman.
Yeah, and we're not talking 2024 terms. I mean, just like legitimately.
And understand, this is not a thing to say that those who are okay with this or who have found this acceptable are wicked. But especially within the church, if you understand, everyone talks about the loving side of Jesus. Jesus showed an angry side.
Oh yeah. There's nothing peaceful about running through and flipping tables because his house was disgraced, or calling Pharisees "you brood of vipers."
And he crafted for himself a whip to drive them out, because they were defiling the Lord's house. And that's the seriousness that we need to look at this with, especially when it comes to pastoralship. I've had a church that had deacons, and the thing they said is that it's not deacon isn't a position of leadership. I'll full transparency, I want to look further into this one. It's my stance is still against it, because he talks about deacons and he says the same thing. They must rule their own households and their own wives and their households well.
And not only that, but you look at the even if there's question about that specifically, we understand that pastoralship, there's not a debate, right? It is called to be a man, and that is biblical. We understand that the marriage is called to be headed by the man. The man to the wife is the relation of Christ to the church. So if you have deaconship that differs from that, you then have a man going to a woman with requests inside the church. That causes that causes a lot of problems, because now it is not a man taking leadership from a man, for one. For two, you are sending the man of a wife to another woman to bring, because what are things that deacons are going to handle? They handle a lot of the personal goings on of the church body. And so if you have a man going to a woman with marital problems, there's an issue there. You can't tell me there's not going to be a problem between that husband and wife when the husband comes back and says, well, she said, whoa, why are you talking to she? Who's this other woman you're talking to? Well, she's a deacon. I don't care. I've sat in positions like that before in my previous marriage and in things of not deaconship but other scenarios. It causes a problem.
Well, and Big Eddie brought up a good point before we talked about, or before we even got on here, is that women are to mentor the younger women. Paul gives that command in Titus. Older women are to mentor younger women, and that's a critical role, because look at what has happened to marriages. Even within the church, 50% chance of failure. That's not good. We are no different within the church as outside of the church, and that is because you have had women. The whole discipleship thing has almost gone out the door within the church. Everyone looks to the pastor and they say that's it. No. Older women are to disciple younger women, as older men are to disciple younger men. There needs to be discipleship. And yes, women are, as you pointed out. If your church has a nursery program, who's generally going to be better at that? It's going to be the women.
It's going to be the women.
And the women and the children's department. I mean, those are, the women by nature are more loving, more kind than more nurturing than the men are. And I'm not saying that some roles can be some. I know some very manly men are very manly women, and I know some very womanly men. And that's just their nature. But inside the church, yes, I would trust a woman with my child at the nursery over a man, and that's just because the nature of men and women. I trust a child, my 3 or 4 year old, even into youth. I would trust a woman to run that, but once they become old enough to become what we could consider a man, then a man needs to take over and lead.
Think about it with when it comes time for your son to start becoming and learning what it takes to be a man. When he's simply developing and he just needs to know how to interact with people. Yeah, your wife is going to do a lot better job than you. I'm willing to say that. Never having met your wife, but just understanding how God has made us different. And you even think about it when they are young. Who is the one who's going to? You can't raise them while you're at work,
right?
And unfortunately, society is sold us this bill of goods that both people need to be working. I understand, like in today's society, it's definitely it's hard to provide with just a single income. I understand that, and I understand, especially in places like this, is abundantly clear. But the one who's predominantly having, anyone out there will probably agree with this. When a young child, we're talking six or younger, gets hurt or anything like that, who are they calling for?
Mom.
Calling for the mom.
And that's just how it is. But as you said, there comes a point where a boy this boy has to learn to be a man. And what we're seeing is with fathers not in the home, it's causing a huge problem.
And as someone who was raised by a single woman, now my mom is one of the strongest people I know, and I'm not discounting saying her, discounting my raising because she, from what I know and what people say, my mom did a phenomenal job in raising me and my little sister on a one income, and trying to show us, trying to be the mom and the dad in the situation. But there are things that only my dad could teach me. And there are things that I still don't, I'm 35 years old. There are things that I still don't know about being a man because my dad was unfortunately, passed away when I was 12. Right when I was learning, going to learn to become a man. So there's a lot of times when I talk to people and stuff like that, or people see me as sensitive or more feminine. Well,
it's because that's toward the and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because different people respond different ways, but there are things that only a man can teach another man, because a woman has no experience doing that. Just like, a man cannot teach little girls about certain things because they will never experience. As men, we will never experience the pain of childbirth. We will never experience what it is to have a period every month. We may watch in shock and horror and awe and catch attitude, from those things, and we might understand what is happening, but we will never experience. It's just like I said earlier. I know how my truck works. Could I build one? No. I understand I put gas in it and it goes. If my engine falls out, I don't know how to fix that. It's just like, middle school year, around, between 10 and 13, a little girl starts her period. I can go get you a pad or a tampon, but I don't know what sizes to get you. I don't know any of that.
It real quick, because one of the first things I remember, Eddie, that we, I guess for lack of better words, bonded on was the fact that, my father having passed at 12.
Right.
Simultaneously, not simultaneously, but, in the same regard, I never really got a proper definition of a man other than the memories I had of what my father did. And I mean proper as in, my mom got remarried 2 years later. At that point, you're 14, you're already, I know what's best, and you're like, so that gap where I needed, God knew what I needed.
Right.
Because I didn't have that, and I ended up becoming a much more, at that point, out of control emotional person.
Right.
Not realizing God had that plan for a reason, because I've needed that to be able to interact with my daughter in ways that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, understanding that as I stand now,
Exactly.
I'm trying to play the role of mom and dad for her, understanding I can't, I say that loosely because I can't play the role of mom.
Right.
Nope.
I never will be able to. God left me with just enough to be able to tend to the emotional side of having to do the come down and the, okay, you've messed up, we're going to address this and this and that, but then have to be able to flip the coin. And that is so much of an emotional toll as it is.
Oh, man.
I wish I could just play the one, but also understanding that even if I could, I look at my mom, I can't do half as good of a job as she did. Why? Because God didn't give me that charge. We carry that in our marriages. We carry it through in the church. We carry it through in all of our interactions, because that's how God's designed us.
I have a special bond with my mom. If you were to plot out like conversations and just conversational time and time spent like that between my mom and my dad, you're talking about like my mom and my dad. But as far as where they hold a spot for me in my heart, it's like this, because my dad was that. My dad showed me what sacrifice looked like. He showed me what it takes to be a man who provides for his family. My dad would work probably, there was a period where if you took, I would even say for the entire year, he averaged probably 90 hours a week. And my dad, sometimes he'd get home at 2 a.m. and get back out the door at 6. And he kept doing it. And the thing that's even more astounding about it is on the weekends, my dad would be there at our sporting events. The only thing that would stop him is some kind of prior obligation. If it was work, they're going to have to wait. I got this I got to go to. And my dad would be there. But it's completely different things. And I know someone's probably going to sit there and, well, sometimes a helper helps you do the things. Okay, but God didn't give us a helper that could do all the things we could. He gave us a helper that will do all the things that we can't.
And that's why it's not, this isn't a thing where we're talking church versus home here, right? This isn't saying that women never get a point to speak to their husbands, where they just sit and be quiet. I heard someone once reference their wife as their voice of God. And I've seen that play through and true in so many people's lives, because like you said, like your father, He's focusing on providing, and we understand. We make the joke about eight brain man. Like we've got our task and we're doing it. That helpmate mentality makes it so that the wife can step in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do whatever you think is best. I just want to make sure you understand." And they say a point. And that thing, I mean, the same reason the Bible says that you may win your husbands without a word. Where just in just your action or in just a statement of, here's something to consider, it triggers something for the husband. You know what? Okay, I see where you're coming from. And then the decision is made. That the husband still made the decision, but the wife's made a statement. And God uses that to speak something to the husband.
Well, and tying it back to the church, because that's ultimately, I mean, obviously, it extends far more. That's why we've hit a lot, but just between men and women. But if you look at it within the church, first off, we have God said so. God said that an overseer is to be husband of one wife. He says that he does not permit women to exercise authority over a man. And if you look at those, we want to say context and argue this or that. If man is to be the priest and prophet at home, why is it then that a woman would be a priest and prophet in the church? It does not make sense. It is not consistent with the Word of God. It's not consistent with itself. If man is to be able to, realistically, no family should, I say this, no family should realistically need a pastor for the church, because the husband should be that. But the pastor should be the one who's known to be extremely knowledgeable and is able to disciple the husband so he can be a better priest and prophet to the family. Yep. And as you said, you look at the comparison that's made, it's chosen for a reason, it's very specific. The husband is to the wife what Christ is to the church. There's no church who tells Christ how to be Christ. There's no church that decides for Christ how he is to love, who he is to love, what he is to love. Christ is the one who leads the church. In fact, our thing at Harvest Baptist Church, a place where the Bible is preached, where the people are friendly, and Jesus is Lord. It's recognition and the submission to Jesus. The church submits to Christ, and it's used. That's how special marriage is. Understand, it's so special. It is the only thing that God uses to describe Christ's relationship to the church.
And your point on just why would you have that be the headship established in the house and then not have it translate to the church? It just, there's just so much that makes sense there, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. If you were told you're going to follow your husband, the man is the head of the house, but if you go to God's house, there's men that aren't the head. And okay, why would that be? If you look at the construct of how men are made and women are made, it still doesn't make sense, because you don't want, we're not going to say, because you'll never say it's a weakness that a woman thinks more in tune with, more on the emotional track, in the same way you won't say that a man has no ability to have emotion. It's just that one is blessed with more than the other,
right,
and the two balance each other out. You want the one that's more logical at the front end. You do, because in the end, certain decisions they need to be made logically. But the emotional consideration that comes as the support and the backing to, okay, black is black and white is white, but what about the rest? You need the rest to help with the decision. But that front decision needs to be the logic, which is strengthened for the man.
Well, and looking at it further logically, if you think about it, if we were made in God's image, and we know that we as men don't bear the entire image of God. We know that we don't perfectly reflect God. But if God is going to complete that image by making woman, does it make sense that he's going to make her exactly like the man who doesn't fully bear God's image? No. He's going to fill in the rest. And when you have a husband and wife come together and they submit themselves before God, and the way they family their church, or the way they parents their children will see as close to the image of God as you can get on this earth.
I get chills hearing you say that.
Because
honestly,
you have the Father, which he has endowed us with a sense of right and wrong. One thing you will find with men, and statistics even shows it, is that you get what you have coming. You reap what you sow. That is very strong within us as men. I mean, in fact, the best chances for a child to not end up in prison is if with a two-parent household, go figure, a father and a mother, or just with their fathers, because we are very much on that. I mean, it's true for us. If you want money, you got to go out and work. No one's going to hand you money.
Right.
We're the ones as men who tend to see that way. But then you have the women's side of it, who are the side of God that those of us who are as children get to see, the loving side, the one who will always forgive you, who you feel like you can tell all of your flaws, all of your mistakes to, and you will never doubt within your heart for even a second that she still loves you.
Right.
Your father may come to you and you'll sense so much disappointment and so much like you can feel the disappointment that your father has in you for some of your mistakes.
Yeah.
Your mom, you will never feel that. You'll always feel the love that is never ending, that chases you down, that wants to have her son or her daughter, and it was designed to be that way. And so now I want to kind of bro. I don't know if you.
Oh no, the only thing that, going back to the pastoral part of this, my wife and I are reading the 1 Year Bible, and if you haven't read it, it's like that. They take several passages. You read them. You read 2 or 3 pages every day, and by the end of the year, you will have read the entire Bible. And it's really funny that we were talking about this today. I didn't know they were going to talk about this. I don't plan to study. I'm a live studio audience. I'm back there making background noises. And so I have no idea what these guys are going to talk to you about today. And it was funny because last night we were reading in Leviticus, and he was saying, God said this, give the instructions to Aaron and his sons. His male sons are the priests in the tabernacle. The male sons, and they, it reiterated it, every other passage that it was Aaron and his sons and and the male descendants are the priests of the church, and who have the all the authority. Who went up on the mountain to receive the Ten Commandments? Moses, not his first wife, not his second wife. Wait, Moses didn't have wives.
He had one.
No, he had one.
Just
Yes,
one.
but sorry, I got. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, and I got, for whatever reason, I was thinking Abraham's.
With as many people as there's that had multiple,
Right.
guessing that they had multiple is
It's
gonna.
a fair guess.
Right. And so, and I'm not discounting, Mary Magdalene and her faith, or Ruth or Ezra. I'm not, because they have their own,
Or Deborah.
or Deborah. Well, I'm not discounting any of their involvement, but when it comes to leadership and being the role which we were talking about, it definitely needs to be the man. We do have, like, the church that I attend, we are run by a man, and we do have a woman pastor, and she is really good at what she does, but she is over the youth, and which is, and she does a phenomenal job at that. But ultimately, our church is led by a man, even though we do have a woman pastor.
I think the difficulty with that is the kids growing up, they may not necessarily understand that. That's my contention with that, or where I feel uncomfortable with that, is that it needs to be, if you're going to call her a pastor, which I firmly agree with having a woman that they can look to, which realistically should be the pastor's wife, but a woman that they can look to who can give godly woman counsel. Because you're right, we as men, we have the word of God, which is sufficient, but we as humans also struggle to learn. That's why God even commanded that older women disciple the younger women.
Right.
For one thing, you're not going to have the same kind of scandals with an older woman discipling a younger woman as you are with an older man discipling a younger woman.
Right.
But on top of that, God knows what we need. Like you said, you can't have a mom teach you how to be a dad. You can't have a dad teach you how to be a mom. You need that within the church. And so we're, obviously, we're not saying that women have no place in the church. We're not saying that women have no place to teach. We're not even saying that women have no place to share the gospel. The commandment was to everyone. But within the church isn't about sharing the gospel. The church isn't where you share the gospel, because the gospel is for those who are lost.
No.
The gospel is for those who are unsaved. So if you're sharing the gospel at your church, then that's not even a church body, because the church body is consisted of God's children. You have to be saved in order to be a part of the body. So you can't even be in the body of Christ if you're not saved. So if your church has to constantly preach the gospel, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Unless they're preaching it to understand how it relates to us, what the significance is of different things. Because everything, when you understand the gospel, it affects everything, all aspects of life, including marriage.
Right.
You know, we talked about Christ's relationship to the church, and you know, when you understand that our charge is to wash our women in the Word, that's what Christ did with the church. He washed the church so that it is able to actually be a part in pure and holy before God.
Well, and the issue I have with, the only thing that sticks out to me, having understanding it's a pastor over the youth, having it as a woman. You know, I've seen a lot of churches where, I've seen a lot. I've seen churches where what they do to help facilitate with kids is it's a husband and wife combination. It's still understood that the husband is the youth pastor. At his side is his wife, and they together can handle the male and the female crowd. And the only reason why it irks me, kind of in the same way as you, Josh, is just because it does still, you know, as a kid, like I look at my brother Peter, for instance. He was going through the Bible and looking at our temple, because Messianic Jews having the Bible, and he's looking at the Bible and looking at our temple, looking at the Bible, and it's like, well, this doesn't line up, and this doesn't line up. And I remember when I was a kid, we had a Jewish family come in just for one of our services. The rabbi's wife got up on stage, and she was giving the sermon for that day. And as soon as she started to speak, he stood up and said, "Where's the rabbi?" And she said, "Well, I'm right here. I'm speaking." And he said, "No, where's the rabbi? There's supposed to be a man teaching on the stage." And she said, I'm going to be speaking today, and if you're not okay with it, I'd love to talk with you afterwards. And if you're not okay with it, you are allowed, I will understand if you leave." And he grabbed his family and left. And as a kid, I had no explanation. We didn't go home. No, I'm turning around. We didn't go home and discuss it. No one gave me an explanation. And I see it as a teaching point for the kids, because at some point, unless you're going to sugarcoat the scriptures that you bring before your children, they're going to come across, because ideally you'd all be sitting going through the Bible together too. They're going to come across that verse that says a woman is not permitted to speak in church. And then we've got two options as parents. We either address it ourselves as we should and walk them through, well, look, here's why this is the thing that's discussed in the Bible. This is why God laid it out. Here's the strengths of the woman when they're not in these positions, and here's the strength of the man. Or we allow what? We allow the school or friends or YouTube or TikTok to give them a toxic explanation of, oh, well, it's because the Bible's bigoted and it hates women. And so now this is it's a teaching point. I've had to look out for so many of them with my daughter just to make sure that I'm able to express them to her. And that's one that if it's not taught it should be by the parents and by the church that you're in, so that your kids see that it's a consistency that you hold, that you're not going to be somewhere that's not holding true.
Well, and I just thought about it.
Real quick, how long do we have you for?
I need to leave like 5 minutes ago.
Okay, well, then
we'll have to pick this back up.
Yes, this is a very good subject.
We'll have to have you back for the roundtable discussion, which will be coming up next weekend. It should be next weekend, roundtable discussion Sunday here.
I'll bring cream cheese.
And we have our new microphone, so it's gonna be good. But we're gonna have to abruptly kind of stop it. Big Eddie, our guest, who's gracious to come on here, has to get going.
Thank you so much, Big Eddie.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all.
And so, but if you have further questions, come on and talk to us. But with that being said, stay safe, stay free, and stay caffeinated.
And stay hungry, from my point.